Going forward, whenever I say like a business need, what I'm talking about is a solution to one of these things that a business really, really wants, like very deep down, right? A need or like a problem is not like the climate crisis. A need or a problem is like a specific problem that a business experiences and wants to solve. So, when we're thinking about the problem that you can solve, you want to connect, as I mentioned, your idea to one of those business problems. And that's kind of step one, right? Once you make that connection. And then step two is to think about who specifically needs that problem solved. Like when I'm saying specifically, I mean like what actual business can you think of that needs that problem solved? And also, furthermore, like what person within that business is responsible for solving that problem? Is it a CFO problem? Is it a CEO problem? Is it a marketing problem? Like you want to be really, really specific because that's going to determine who you're going to reach out to basically sell to later on. We're not quite there yet, but like that's the concept. So think about the type of company. It could be industry, it could be region. What different businesses do you think would need that problem solved? And then who in the company is responsible for solving it? Once you've come up with that, that's a fantastic guess. It doesn't actually mean anything. It is simply a guess. And this is where a lot of founders go wrong. Not to like throw shade, but you don't actually know anything, like frankly, until you go out and talk to people, right? So when founders are like sitting in their brains being like, I need to figure out what my business is going to do, that's great to come up with a list of guesses. But ultimately, what your job is as a founder is to validate that people actually do need what you think they need and that your solution is solving the problem that you think they need. It's all just guesses in the early days. And so some of the biggest mistakes that we see is that people don't talk to anyone. They start building the business and like building the operations without having ever talked to a potential customer. And this results later on in founders who are kind of spinning their wheels in their business, being like, I'm doing so much work, but I don't have any money. And that disconnect is often because your problem and solution combination is not actually real or validated by customers. So you're kind of like hoping that what you do solves a problem versus saying like, okay, I know this is a problem. I know I solve it. And like, let's build from a place of having that information validated by customers. Especially founders are like so egocentric. That's not a bad thing. Like we're all like that. I'm like that in some ways too. So it's just really important to like stay humble and make sure that like you're going to be wrong like 90% of the time. And so it's really important to actually go out and have conversations before you even feel ready to, because the best time to have these conversations is before you even like really started a business, like formally. You know, people spend time on like websites and like logos and branding. But if you're not solving a real problem, then none of that matters. And now you're just wasting time and money essentially on a business that you don't even know is going to make you any money. So this is why I like to start here. It's not to panic you. Don't worry. It's just we're here now. And so that's a great thing. We actually had a participant in our 2024 cohort that was also selling to schools and like elementary schools and summer camps. And what they basically did was they have like educational like training and workshops and toys to help reduce climate anxiety within kids. And then what we landed on with them is what is the value of the students taking part in your programs and what is the value to the schools for that happening? So for them, it helps students better manage their own emotions day to day. So it made classes more efficient and it made teachers be better able to manage classrooms because you're trying to find the value to the institution that you're selling to. If kids are less worried or more educated and more aware, like what's the benefit to the school for kids having the knowledge that you have for them? So when you're connecting the problem you solve to what they need, you can say, okay, this is how our programs get you what you want. Because you have to also think, okay, that's what you're putting together today. When you get on a call with them, you can say, hey, so like this is what I think we can do for you. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think that would actually solve your problem or not? And they'll let you know what they want and if that need is big enough and if they think your solution solves their problem. Because maybe you get on the call and they're like, you know what, actually, like the reason our enrollment is down is because we don't have enough like buildings in our area and it's just too far for people to drive to. So they can basically say like, yes, you're on the right track or no, you're not. And that's how you validate your value proposition is by talking to people and they will tell you yes or no, you're on the right track.